18 presentation is
You guys ready? Call the meeting to order. For those who care to, please rise for an opening prayer and a salute to our flag. If you would bow your heads with me, dear Heavenly Father, thank you for this day. Thank you for the time we've spent together. Allow us to do the things that you want us to do, make the decisions you want us to make. Thank you for blessing this community and citizens. Thank you for blessing our economic growth. Allow us to continue on the path that you've given us. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This particular time, I'd like to turn over to Ms. Angela Heatherly, our Human Resource Director, and I'm going to let you present.
Good evening, Council. How are you?
Fine.
Fine?
I'm fine.
Okay. Dean Harder's fine.
We'll let you know after you talk.
Actually, it's a good thing.
Okay, then we're great.
Huh? We want to present an award tonight, an extraordinary award to an employee who, on behalf of the city, and I'm going to speak personally for myself, helped us a great deal. She's kind of helped me learn the ropes, but back in June, we go through an annual audit of workman's comp every year, and we have to have our payroll audited, and at this particular time when we had to do the audit, I was over at the police department helping them interview new recruits for patrol, and so she said, Angela, I'll go, I'll set through the audit, won't take an hour. I think it was 4 hours later, she come back and just sweating, and she's like, this isn't good. You know? I'm like, please don't tell me that, but it was all good. We had lost some information in Summit that had been archived, and we were missing some salaries due to that. She took it upon herself, voluntarily went back through and pulled every payroll and found the missing wages and reconciled it for us, and we ended up getting a $9,800 refund. And she did all of this while still being an administrative assistant at the police department, processing payroll for me every other week, and then did this on her own time. So she really did go above and beyond and made it work for the city and got it balanced, and it ended up with a refund. And honestly, I just don't think we could have done it without her. So we want to recognize her tonight for going all above and beyond and giving her a certificate and a $250 gift card.
Kathy James.
Kathy James.
Yeah.
Kathy James.
The mystery person.
Here's your money. That's probably really the most important part.
Now turn around and take pictures.
Picture.
You got to hold it up. And, there you go.
There we go. Got it. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. I am very honored and humbled. And I just will try to do my best.
Thank you for your help. Thank you for keeping
Thank
her
you
out
very
of
much.
trouble.
Yeah.
Thanks, Kathy. I'd like to open a public hearing of the City Council of the City of Republic, Missouri concerning an ordinance approving a special use permit for a group daycare home owned and operated by Carmen Ice located at 418 North George Avenue in Republic, Missouri. Anyone wishing to speak for this particular public hearing?
Overview first. Overview.
Yes.
After the overview?
After Garrett gives the overview. Thank you.
Ron interrupted you.
Derailed his train of thought.
Yes, you did. Thank
Good
you.
evening.
Sorry, Garrett.
This will authorize Ms. Carmen Ice to operate a group daycare home from her place of residence located at 418 North George Avenue. She presently operates what we call a family daycare home and cares for between 1 and 6 children at her place of residence. Authorizing the special use permit would allow her to care for between 6 and 10 children at that same place of residence.
Thank you. Anyone wishing to speak for this particular public hearing, please step forward, state your name, sign in, and give us your best 3 minutes.
Good evening. I'm Carmen Ice, and I reside at 418 North George Avenue. The reason that I am requesting to have a special use permit is because my daughter, Savannah, and I do this together. This is not something that I do alone. I have done this alone for 15 years in Kansas. I owned my own daycare. Savannah was raised that way. And she is now married, and she and her husband reside in Clever, and they have a 4.5-month-old son. And her husband, Murphy, had the opportunity to go to OTC school this semester in networking and technology. And so we decided that to supplement the income, to bring in income, we would reopen a daycare. And our business hours are 7 to 5:30. So we have really nice hours as far as traffic would be or anything. I currently care for 6 children, and we have 2 families that have 2 children that are waiting to come to our daycare, being we would get this permit, and that would give us 6 families. So for the next 2.5 years, we would not even exceed 6 families. So the traffic wouldn't even be for more than 6 families because I have doubles families in my daycare. We have a fenced backyard, and that's the only place that we play. We don't ever be in the street or the front yard or anything because they're not allowed, number one, and so we don't do that. The reason that we have chosen to come to try at my house is we have a new construction home, and so being as my children are raised and have their own families, I was able to easily convert our 2 guest rooms into childcare rooms, and so we have plenty of space, and we're not on top of each other or anything, so we have ample space for that. And I just really would appreciate it if we were allowed to do that so that we could both have the income. That's the main reason we want to do up to 10. Thank you.
Thank you.
I guess I better give my name first. I'm Bill Adams. I've lived in Republic for about 15 years. I own 3 properties here. One of them is right next door to 222, what is it, 450, 418. I own 410, 365, 367, all on George. And I have absolutely no objections. 410 is where my son's in-laws live. I rent to them. And of course I know they have no objection. I've talked to them. I believe that she will provide a very badly needed service because the daycare that's around the corner from here is closed. And as I say, I have absolutely no objections of any sort. I'm totally in favor of her doing this. And they have a new house, newly fenced backyard. I've been working all day there the last few days next door trying to paint the house. And there's kids playing in the yard. They don't, nobody, there's more kids in the street riding bicycles than there's playing in her backyard. Nobody can hear any noise. And, I've talked to my in-laws, and I've talked to my son's in-laws. And the renters next door to me that I rent to, they have no objection. And the property owner on the other side is a person named Kay Glass. I've talked to her about it. She has no objection, so whatever. I'm totally in favor of it. Thank you for listening.
Anyone else wishing to speak for this particular public hearing, please step forward, state your name, sign in, and give us your best 3 minutes. Seeing none, anyone wishing to speak against this particular public hearing, please come forward, state your name, sign in, and give us your best 3 minutes. Seeing none, public hearing closed. I'd like to open it up now to citizen participation. Anyone wishing to speak to anything not on the agenda, please come forward, state your name, sign in, give us your best 3 minutes. Citizen participation closed. On the next item on the agenda, council would like to have a motion on the consent agenda. Motion.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Any abstentions? Motion carries. Thank you. Welcome, Ms. Guy Rice. Please give us an overview on the financial report.
Good evening. What you have in front of you is the update on the sales tax and motor fuel tax collections. Of the sales tax, we are currently 5.6% of where we were, over where we were last year at this time. It still sounds good, but if you recall from last month, we were over 10%, so we have dropped 5% with this month's collection. The fire sales tax, you'll see we're about to be a year into it. We're about to catch up and have a year of collections for the fire sales tax. The motor fuel tax collections, we are 1.2% over where we were last year at this time, and that has been an increase over where we were last month, which was not quite 1%.
Questions, comments, discussion for Ms. Guy Rice? Anything at all? Thank you. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Any abstentions? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Krisky, anything, sir?
One just quick note on the Unified Development Code. At last Monday's Planning and Zoning Committee meeting, they did meet on a couple of topics, but they did get a copy of the draft version of the Unified Development Code. It's very overwhelming when you look at it as an entire document, so they had a number of questions and comments with regards to that. And this is a document that is a really important document, of course, for the city, and the overall consensus was not to rush this through and to take our time and make sure that we analyze it and look at things as we move through. So for the next 3 months at least, October, November, December, provided the agenda doesn't get too long with other business, we will bring forward a particular section of that code and go through that with the Planning and Zoning Commission just to make sure that they're aware of what potential changes there may be or comments that they may need to address. So just wanted to give you an update that over the next 3 months we'll start tackling more and more of those issues.
Perfect.
That's it.
Mr. Derrickson, anything?
Nope.
All right, fantastic. On future community events, welcome, Mr. Keeling. How are you, sir?
Well, thank you. First of all, I want to say we had an AMP event last Saturday. It's by far our best attended one. It was a fishing theme. We had the fishing magicians out. They were actually been on ESPN before. They were really talented, really funny. Definitely could do the magic well. Bass Pro Shop donated a number of fishing poles that we were able to give away. I want to thank Bass Pro Shops publicly. And we just showed Finding Nemo. It's hard to put a number on it, but all the seating area was pretty well full. And on the back berm area, we had a lot of people there as well. So it went really, really well. Future community events for the remainder of September on into October. September 23rd through November the 13th is Arthritis Foundation Exercise Program. That's at 1:30 p.m. on Tuesdays and Thursdays. September 25th through October the 2nd is Toddler Tumbling. That's offered on Thursdays at either 5:30 or 6:30 p.m. and pre-registration is required. This coming Thursday, September the 25th, is Senior Movie Day at 3 p.m. The movie will be The Notebook. September 26th is the last day to register for girls' youth volleyball for grades 3 through 8. September 26th through October 3rd is Todd Academy. We offer that program on Fridays at 10:30 a.m. with pre-registration is required. September 29th is Toddler Open Gym. It's 10 a.m. It's a Monday. And October 3rd is the last day to register for our fall adult basketball program. That season begins the week of October the 15th.
All right, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Harder?
I would like to add, I talked to Jared earlier, I had the opportunity to get out to the new park out in Brookline. If you guys haven't had an opportunity to get out there, you need to go out there. It's probably one of the best kept secrets around, I think.
Appreciate
It's a real
it.
nice park. We were out there, and I got to give kudos to the chief, the police route patrolling while we were there, so.
That's
they're
because you were
there.
out there.
Yeah, they heard.
Daniel, we go there all the
time. It is the best kept
Daniel, that's
secret.
why, that's because you were out there. That's why they didn't
Whatever the reason, they were there patrolling. It's a beautiful park.
Well, I appreciate that. Number of people to thank for that. Obviously, the Volunteers for Outdoor Missouri, they helped get us the trails out there. Lowe's they single-handedly built the pavilion, and our maintenance staff, but I really appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Board, Commission, and Committee schedule, Board of Adjustments, October 2nd, Capital Improvements, September 24th, City Council, October 13th, and October 27th, Planning and Zoning, October 20th. On to old business and tabled items. At this particular time, I'd like to have a motion to remove from the table Bill Number 14-24.
Motion.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Any abstentions? A motion carries. At this particular point in the meeting, we had already went through the motion, the second, the vote. We also went through the read to have the final passage of it, and a second, we are at the discussion phase. So that is currently where it got tabled. So we are all the way through to the discussion phase regarding this particular item. So please, Chief Doyle, give us an overview of this particular item, and then we will go from this point forward.
Well, basically, we were trying to address the situation where some residents had expressed some concerns about projectile weapons, which in particular were people practicing with arrows, whether it's compound bows, long bows, or even crossbows, in a residential neighborhood setting where they were having the potential where it could have crossed out of their property into the neighbor's property where there would be children or other people out doing something, and the potential risk. So there had been numerous ideas on how we could address this, and thanks to Mr. Derrickson and some of the research he's done around the area, we came up with a concept of limiting it to a 3-acre property or larger, and the projectile weapon, whatever it might be, could not have the potential to leave the boundaries of that property, so it wouldn't pose danger to any of the neighbors. And then we came up with some various exceptions, such as any city-sponsored event, school-sponsored event, and I believe that's where we came up with the potential for an amendment.
Okay. Thank you, Chief. Okay, Council. Questions, comments, discussion. There is a possible amendment in front of you if you want to take a look at that from our last meeting. That was the reason it did get tabled. So, Council, will be up to you whether you want to make that amendment or whether you want to proceed as is. So, questions, comments, discussion. Mr. Derrickson, you explain that amendment, sir. That's a good idea.
Based upon the discussion at the last meeting, look for some way to amend this to, in fact, be consistent with some of the other processes we have. The first part of the amendment is basically just a wording change. The way the paragraph A2, the last sentence read, nor shall this section apply to the city or school-sponsored activities. To be consistent with the language, I kind of flipped some of the words around there, and if the amendment is taken up, it will read, that sentence will be deleted, and this sentence will be added, nor shall this section apply to activities authorized by the city or school. Just kind of tweaked some of the wording to be consistent with the rest of the ordinance, and I had picked up on that when we first started looking at it. And then the new section is a paragraph C, and basically what I did is I went to the fireworks code section of the city code, and we have a process there for getting a special activity permit where you come to council, and council has the ultimate say-so as to whether or not to allow fireworks at a different time other than around July 1st. Well, I took basically that language with a few tweaks and used it for projectile weapons. If someone like Bass Pro wants to come down and do a school or something like that, they could come to council, and it would be up to council to decide whether or not, based upon where they're going to do it, how they're going to do it, whether or not to grant a special activity permit, and they would still have to possibly go through the special event process. So, hopefully this language is along the lines of what council had in mind whenever you tabled it at the last meeting.
Fair enough, thank you. Questions, comments, discussion? Mr. Harder?
It might be a semantic thing for the attorney here, nor shall this section apply to activities authorized by the city or the school, so the school can override the city on an activity?
If it's on their property, in paragraph C, number 2, says the school district may authorize activities related to the use or display of projectile weapons on school property which are sponsored by the school. So it has to be on their property. They just can't go out anywhere that's not school property and have an event.
It's like they have an archery team.
Yes, they have an archery team
on their property.
on their property, and we're relying on them to do the thing correctly.
Okay, so if it was a school function, it doesn't necessarily come.
No, it would not
Right.
come to the city, and that's the way the original amendment read. It accepted them.
Okay,
Yes.
very good, thank you.
Correct. If the school held something on our property, totally different story.
Right.
Okay.
They still have to come like any other group, whether it's a church or a civic organization, still have to come and follow the process. Mr. Quickenberry, did you have a question, sir?
No.
Okay, thought your hand up. Additional questions, comments, discussion? Again, this has not been amended, so that's, amendment's in front of you if you would like to make it. If not, then we proceed without it.
I'd like to make that amendment. So do I need to read that?
I'll go ahead and read it.
Okay,
Thank you.
I've already read the first sentence that's going to be amended in paragraph A, subparagraph 2, and then we'll add paragraph C, which reads, paragraph C, city or school authorized activities. Civic, nonprofit, commercial, and social organizations desiring to hold activities related to the use or display of projectile weapons shall make application to the city council at least 14 days prior to the date such activity is desired to be scheduled. Such application shall set forth the date and times during which such activity is desired to be scheduled, the specific reasons as to why the activity is to be held, and such other information as the council may require, including the names and addresses of all persons responsible for conducting the activity. If the city council, in its discretion, is of the opinion such activity would constitute a legitimate community event, it may issue a special activity permit authorizing the requested activity, subject to approval of plans for the activity through the special event planning process, if applicable. If any such activity is authorized by special activity permit, nothing herein shall be construed as requiring the city council to authorize a special activity permit to the same organization for activities desired to be scheduled in successive years. If a request for a special activity permit is made less than 14 days before the event, the applicant shall be required to post a cash bond in an amount sufficient to cover any cost incurred by the city as a result of the shortened time period. Such costs shall include, but is not limited to, overtime costs, cost of cleanup, police and fire services, etc., and those costs shall be deducted from the cash bond and the balance, if any, returned to the applicant. Subparagraph 2. The school district may authorize activities related to the use or display of projectile weapons on school property and which are sponsored by the school.
Would you like to make that motion, as Mr. Derrickson has read?
Yes, I'd like to make that motion.
I'll second it.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor of amended motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Any abstentions? Motion carries. Now, we're still at the phase of discussion. Questions, comments, discussion for Chief Lowe or Mr. Derrickson? Yes, Mr. Hart.
And we did contact the school and presented this to them. This is the school aware it's
Not
there.
that I'm aware of, yeah.
So we need to.
If it passes, we will make contact with them,
Very
yes.
good, thank you.
You're welcome. Questions, comments, discussion? Anything at all? Seeing none, roll call vote.
Councilmember Harrelson?
Aye.
Councilmember Poole?
Aye.
Councilmember Harder?
Aye.
Councilmember Brashears?
Aye.
Councilmember Nelson?
Aye.
Councilmember Wilson?
Aye.
Councilmember Clinkenbeard?
Aye.
Motion carries 7-0. Thank you very much. Thank you, Chief. On to new business, I'd like to have a motion to have the first reading of bill number 14-28.
Motion.
Second.
A motion and a second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Try that again, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Any abstentions? Motion carries.
An ordinance of the City Council of the City of Republic, Missouri, authorizing and directing the Chief of Police to enter into a memorandum of understanding with regard to mutual aid with the National Park Service for police services.
Thank you, Brendan. Chief Lowe, give us an overview, sir.
Well, the title says it pretty well. Back whenever we assisted the Wilsons Creek National Battlefield with the 150th anniversary of the big battle at Wilsons Creek, we determined that we actually had more involvement than some of the sheriff's departments or other jurisdictions with Wilsons Creek. You can't really get in or out of Wilsons Creek National Battlefield without coming through our city, and we were a major player in that event. So their normal agreements that they had with the Greene County and Christian County Sheriff's Departments were up for renewal, and they thought that since we had been such an active participant with them in the past and our close proximity to them, that they would also try and have a mutual or a memorandum of understanding with us for joint law enforcement services. And that's what they brought in to propose. I don't see them utilizing us very often, but or us utilizing them very often, but it's a nice situation based on our contiguous nature to be exploring this possibility.
Thank you, sir. Questions, comments, discussion for Chief Lowe? Mr. Harder?
So this is primarily right now being addressed by Greene County, is that correct?
Or Christian County,
Or
because part of the Wilson Creek is in both
Okay.
counties.
So, and again, with the chain of command, we're on site first for an incident, Greene County comes and they assume chain of command, is that correct, or how would that?
No, they might be a situation, and I was informed Mr. Kriske, somewhere around 10 years ago, and some of you may remember it, somebody had broken into the visitor center and stolen, I think it was General Sweeney's pistol as well as a few other artifacts. The alarm went off, and there was a relatively long response time before somebody showed up and was able to determine a burglary had occurred, and they'd already fled the scene. This would enable us to be able to make a quick response, and if we got there, all we would do is maintain our position until their officers arrive, because the National Park Service has sworn police officers that they would arrive. Now, they in turn might end up working the investigation down over the future with the Greene County Sheriff's Department, or in the last case, they worked with the Springfield Police Department, and they recovered the stolen artifacts. So once the park police got on site, they would be the ones in charge.
All right, thank you.
That's a good question. Additional questions, comments, discussion for Chief Lowe? Mr. Quickenberry?
Does this affect any normal activities? Like I know it was a year or two ago they had 50th or 100th or some big anniversary, and they actually had people parking in fields that were up now in our city area and then shuttling them down to the events. We probably already participate in traffic control and those types of things anyway, correct? Or would this kind of spill over into that area some too?
Well, actually, we did participate in that, and as part of a mutual aid agreement between multiple jurisdictions. And so if something like that were to occur somewhere in the future, and this agreement was in force, then we would assist. And once again, if we were overloaded and didn't have the capability to assist, we wouldn't. So that's part of the agreement, is that we're not bound to provide assistance if we are already otherwise occupied with our own internal city business.
Since it's a mutual thing, would this allow them the opportunity to come into our jurisdiction to some of those lots that they might use, basically where farmers' fields that were empty that they use as lots? But does this allow them to come, if there was an incident or whatever, they could come and help in an area where they normally wouldn't be able to leave their facility?
And if we requested that, yes, they could.
Okay. Thank you.
Additional questions, comments, discussion for Chief Lowe? Thank you, Chief. This is a first reading. If you have questions or comments before the next meeting, please contact Chief Lowe or Mr. Kriske. On the next item under new business, I'd like to have a motion of the first reading of bill number 14-29.
Motion.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Any abstentions? Motion carries.
An ordinance of the City Council of the City of Republic, Missouri, approving a special use permit for a group daycare home owned and operated by Carmen Ice, located at 418 North George Avenue in Republic, Missouri.
Thank you, Brenda. Welcome, Mr. Tyson. Give us the overview, sir.
In addition to what I presented earlier, this would allow Ms. Ice to operate a group daycare home to care for between 6 and 10 children from this place of residence at any given time. This location is located within the medium-density single-family zoning district. It's located on a local residential street that is, in this case, in close proximity to a primary arterial, that being U.S. Highway 60. It's surrounded primarily by other single and two-family residential zoning districts, residential locations, and the Planning and Zoning Commission did vote unanimously 7-0 to recommend approval of this special use permit. Staff doesn't have any particular issues or see any particular problems given the land use situation in this particular case.
Thank you, Mr. Tyson. Questions, comments, discussion for Mr. Tyson? Mr. Quickenbeer?
The only one I had, what is our policy? I noticed at the top of the street, it does appear that there are duplexes, and then maybe there's like on the corner, kind of an L-shaped home. It almost looks like a smaller quadplex or something like that, because they have a lot of parking in the rear of it. But what is our policy when we send out those notifications for the public hearings? Do we send them to the street address, or if there's renters there, that the renters get them, or do we also send them to the owners of properties that we know are being used as investment properties or whatever, where they're rentals? I know we had one owner show up tonight, so I didn't know if our policy is notify the owner of the property, or if we notify the people that are residing at the property, or both.
We notify the property owner.
Okay.
So not necessarily the tenant. We will send it to the same address that the property tax bill goes to. We get that data from the Greene County Assessor's Office. So wherever their tax bill goes for this location, that's where we send our legal notice.
Okay, excellent. Well, that would be the preferred choice. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Additional questions, comments, discussion for Mr. Tyson? Anything at all? This is a first read. If you have questions between now and the next meeting, please contact Mr. Tyson or Mr. Krischke or Ms. Noggle. Thank you, sir. On the next item on the agenda, we'd like to have a motion to have the first reading of bill number 14-30.
Motion.
Second.
I have a motion and 4 seconds. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Any abstentions? Motion carries.
An ordinance of the City Council of the City of Republic, Missouri, amending Schedule I, Table IA, General Speed Zones of the Republic Traffic Code.
Thank you. Welcome, Mr. Bryant. Please give us an overview, sir.
Thank you, Mayor. City recently annexed Southland Avenue, Farm Road 89, and the Lakes Shooter Ridge subdivision. This ordinance will establish our speed limits for the city streets that were included in that annexation. Now, the format of our speed zones are such that all streets are 30 miles an hour unless they are specifically listed in Schedule I, Table I-A. So the ordinance, the bill that you have in front of you, effectively would establish 35 miles an hour on Williamsburg Walk. All other streets then would be the city's default or nominal speed limit at 30 miles an hour.
Questions, comments, discussion. Mr. Harder?
Why the 35 of Williamsburg Walk?
That is the new section of road. That's all new.
Oh, that's going to be a new section.
Yes, that is the new section, and if the council remember, we have approved Southland Avenue, Farm Road 89. When that project is completed, I would anticipate returning to City Council to amend that speed limit once we have wider lanes. Our speed study that we did indicated that the 85th percentile of folks driving out there are going about 46 miles an hour. But we don't feel that is quite appropriate at this time on the old county road. So we'd like to wait until those improvements are done before we reconsider or bring that back to City Council to reconsider.
Thank you.
Additional questions, comments, discussion? Mr. Brock, what is the current speed?
The county had the interior roads at Lexus Schuler Ridge posted at 25, and they had 45 miles an hour for the farm road. But keep in mind, their default or nominal speed limit on a county road is 45.
Right. Thank you. Mr. Wilson?
I, on occasion, have to go out there, and I don't know of anybody that's gonna drive 35 mile an hour on that road. It's gonna be 40 plus. But if you're gonna visit in the future, it should work out all right.
Mr. Wilson, you have a valid point. Mr. Brock and I, we had a discussion on this very thing. The one thing that as Mr. Brock stated, is if you go out land, it's a wide until you get to that one section.
Right.
And the problem is that if you're really going down 45, as he stated, 46 in that particular area, you're going 46, you will not slow down when the road narrows or when it gets rough. They'll keep going at 46 miles an hour, which is really a hazard in that area alone. So, hence, that's why the speed limit reduced now, and then the revisit once the road gets wide, so we could do a better job of handling the traffic flow and the speed. Because with it being rough in the county, that's an accident waiting to happen.
I have another concern there, where the county cut into Lynn Avenue.
Mm-hmm.
They chopped the road off there, going to County Line Road. Well, apparently people didn't like it, and they just made their own road there. Is there any way that you could put up a roadblock, as it were, to cause them to stop using that little short section?
Absolutely. I mean, it's now city right of way, so we can make adjustments.
Big concrete. As it is, they made the curve and then they cut back in to where Lynn would be, 89, go on to County Line Road, and the people don't want to go up there and turn right and then left. They just run through the mud.
This situation is not new. It's kind of been going on since they did they reconfigure that out there, and the county highway folks suspect that there are a few individuals that were unsatisfied, so to speak, with the realignment, and you just have a few individuals who routinely take that shortcut, so to speak. They've redressed, gone back in and redressed it, and eliminated the ruts that developed, only to find that a few weeks later they were back.
Right. But need to do something to stop it.
So is that a possibility, Mr. Brock?
Yes, sir.
Address that?
Yeah.
And I would say that, well, instead of just putting the traditional concrete barriers that aren't very attractive, being that it's a nice area, we can look at doing something, I don't know, with guardrails maybe we can put in there, but something, this is a nice area.
Well, I think the landscaping.
Or landscaping, but not concrete barriers, that was mentioned.
Drain out ditch. Nice boulders.
Yeah, or nice decorative rocks.
Additional pertinent questions, comments, discussion for Mr. Brock? Anything else? Seeing none, this is a first read. If you have questions or comments or discussion between now and the next meeting, please contact Mr. Brock or Mr. Christie. Thank you. On to other business. Resolution number 14-R-63, a resolution of the City Council of the City Republic of Missouri authorizing the Police Department to apply for the 2015 Local Law Enforcement Block Grant, otherwise known as LLEBG. I'd like to have a motion.
Motion. Second.
Motion and second. Welcome, Chief Lowe. Give us the overview, sir.
Well, you've seen me up here on these for the last several years, and every once in a while we get really lucky and we get them. This is a local grant that you're eligible for up to $9,000 of state funding and for a total package of $10,000. So what we're asking for through the local law enforcement block grant is one in-car camera, which costs about $4,800, and then 2 of the mobile radios that go in the cars, and those are about $2,200 a piece. So that gives a total grant package request of $9,220. We have $1,000 in our budget line item for this grant application, so that we can make up the difference on that in this pool. And anticipation. And so we're hopeful that the state will look favorable on us, because you can only use these grants for safety-related items, and obviously communications in the cars and our in-car video camera, especially for what happened in some other cities in Missouri that didn't have in-car cameras. I think the state has a chance of looking favorably on us like they have in the past.
Thank you. Questions, comments, discussion for Chief Lowe. Mr. Harder?
How many vehicles that in our fleet now have the in-car camera system?
I believe all but one of the supervisor's vehicles.
Okay. So this will get us all up to speed on the in-car cameras. Okay, thank you.
And it did, but it was end of life, so that's why we're doing that.
Okay.
Additional questions, comments, discussion? Anything at all? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Any abstentions? Motion carries 7-0. Thank you, Chief. On our next item, last item, resolution number 14-R-64, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Republic, Missouri, approving the purchase of a work truck for the Street Division of Public Works. Would like to have a motion.
Motion. Second.
Motion second. Mr. Brunt, give us the overview, sir.
Thank you, Mayor. Part of the Street Division's 2014 budget included funding to replace a 2001 Dodge 1-ton with a flatbed. This Dodge was, in its earlier years, one of our primary snow and ice control vehicles. For a number of years it carried a salt spreader, ran a plow, 8-foot plow. However, due to extensive corrosion the last 3 or 4 years or so, it's been run with a plow only. And part of our execution on the timing of expenditures is to get that piece of equipment or vehicle in at the appropriate time during the year. And so we are asking to use a MoDOT cooperative purchasing agreement using Republic Ford's submitted bid to MoDOT to replace that 1-ton truck. So this resolution would authorize accepting Republic's quote through that MoDOT bid for an F-350 four-wheel drive. It's a regular cab with dual rear wheels, and including in options is a flatbed. That total cost from Republic Ford, $29,540. As I mentioned, may not have mentioned, but our total appropriation is $42,000. If the truck purchase is approved, then we would go through the appropriate bidding process then to equip that vehicle with a salt spreader and a new plow.
Thank you, sir. Questions, comments, discussion? Mr. Wilson?
And that's a 1-ton, is it going to be gas or diesel?
This is gas. That is one of the deducts. It's about a $6,500 deduct to the base bid was a diesel. We prefer unleaded fuel, and that reduced our price substantially.
I was looking in here and I did not see what it was.
Additional questions, comments? Mr. Harder?
Do you have any feel for the cost of the snow plow and salt spreader?
I would anticipate about $10,000.
All right, thank you.
Additional questions, comments, discussion?
How many snow plows will we have with this one?
we can come up with some amazing things in a pinch. However, 6 really vehicles or trucks that are really set out to do that. We do have some older vehicles that have kind of been taken out of service, but as I said, in a pinch, we could probably get them back in if we needed them.
Okay. Additional questions, comments, discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Any abstentions? Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Brown.
Thank you.
This particular time, our public business is done. Would like to go into executive session under RSMO 610.021.3. Would like to have a motion?
Motion. Second.
Motion and second. Roll call vote.
Councilmember Harrelson?
Aye.
Councilmember Poole?
Aye.
Councilmember Harder?
Aye.
Councilmember Bashir?
Aye.
Councilmember Melton?
Aye.
Councilmember Wilson?
Aye.
Councilmember Kissinger?
Aye.
Motion carries 7-0. We'll take a 5-minute recess and we'll come back.
I said that to you, Jeff.
What's that about that?